Thank you, Stefan. Can everybody hear me?
You sound
Yes.
wonderful.
Okay. I just wanted to add one other fact to what Arlene told us about St. Valentine. Where did the tradition of sending Valentine's cards come from? Rumor has it that while he was in prison before he was martyred, that children used to send him notes and sneak them into the prison, and that's where the tradition of sending cards, notes of love, came from, according to rumor.
Alan, could you speak just a little louder?
Let me see if I can
A
turn
little
it up.
closer. I don't know, Stefan. Does he seem faint for you?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How about now? Is that better?
That's much better, much better. Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody hears everything you have to say, Alan.
All right. Well, before we start, I just wanted to give you some more heart facts. I want everybody to make a fist. Look at your fist. If you're an average-sized person, that's the size of your heart. If you're a big person, tall, your heart's going to be a little bit bigger, and if you're of the fairer sex, your heart may be a little bit smaller. But this is the size of the organ that without it, we can't do anything in our bodies, okay? It touches every part of our body, from the brain to our big toe, because it pumps blood, okay? Now, in an average lifetime, the heart beats 2 billion times. We pump 6,000 gallons of blood each and every day of our lives. And our hearts start beating 1 month into pregnancy and usually stops when we die. But in some exceptional cases, hearts are transplanted, so our hearts beat on even after we're dead. So the heart's a tremendous organ. And there's a lot of things that we need to do to keep it healthy and strong. Now, I'm going to give you a paradox. The French smoke more cigarettes, eat more fat, and drink more wine than any other civilized people in the world, yet they have very little heart disease. So what do they do different than we do to make their hearts strong and healthy? And it's what they eat or drink. For instance, there's resveratrol. It's a powerful heart antioxidant. It's found in wine. And so even though they drink wine and alcohol after a couple glasses a day may be harmful to our livers, the resveratrol is healthy for our hearts. Now, one of the traditions for Valentine's Day is to give 2 things that are heart healthy. One is roses. Now you're thinking, okay, where's he going with this? Roses make you feel good. You make serotonin, and in some cases we make endorphins. Those are our happy hormones, and when we're happy, all of our organ systems are working properly. But the other is we give more chocolate yesterday than we give any time during the rest of the year, and chocolate has an antioxidant, a polyphenol, that's good for the heart. So, we traditionally feel that February 14th is a heart day, and it really is, judging from what we do. But what I want to do today is talk about 6 products that RX has that are heart healthy. Now, again, I'm speaking as a physician, so I'm going to give you some scientific information. But when you talk to people, you have to word it a little bit differently than I do. You have to word that these products help support good heart health, that it won't cure this or won't cure that or prevent this. When I teach, it's a sharp edge that I walk, but I can do it. And so when people understand that when you talk about something, you say this supports good cholesterol levels or this supports good blood pressure. There are lots of studies out there, not done in the United States because they're not recognized, but there are a lot of studies out there that show that some substance may actually reduce blood pressure, one of which is chocolate, which is another reason to eat chocolate. So I want to go ahead and talk about 6 products, and I want you to understand that even as a physician with a PhD in cell biology, so I've done this for a long time. I'm amazed every day when I look at the components of all the products that RX has and the time and the effort that the scientific board, the Wellness Council, and our own Deanna Latson, all the time they put together to come up with the very best products out on the market, because not only do they affect our bodies in many, many different ways, but lots of the products work in conjunction with others to make the effect even more pronounced. So we're going to have some fun, and anybody that wants this PowerPoint presentation, just email me, and I'll be happy to give it to you. Please don't publish it. Just use it for your education or show it in small groups. So let's go on. All right, the first three that I want to talk about will be MagnaCal D, Omega Q, and Bio Pro Q. Now, I have an old photograph of Bio Pro CoQ10, and the reason why I put that one up instead of the newer one is that it's so important to understand that Bio Pro Q contains a heart antioxidant. Okay? So let's go ahead and look at MagnaCal D. Now, it's a perfect balance of calcium and magnesium. So most of us think about that. All right, that's great for bones, but it's also good for the heart. First of all, it's biologically active calcium and magnesium, which is important because most calcium preparations that physicians recommend, and I went to breakfast with a physician friend of mine who went to medical school with me many years ago. Well, not that many years ago. And I said, when we were on medicine and we needed to give extra calcium, what did our professors teach us? And she said, take Tums. Well, the calcium that's in Tums is the wrong calcium. Maybe 4% of it gets absorbed, but most of it causes problems in terms of kidney stones, and it stays undigested usually in our GI tracts. So biologically active minerals are very important. And calcium and magnesium are very, very important for contraction of the heart. Calcium is also very important in our blood pressures. And some of us with high blood pressure are on calcium blockers and things like that to help dilate blood vessels. So calcium is very important for the tone in our blood vessels. Magnesium is important, and it has to be in a close to 1-to-1 ratio to work. It's important in activating vitamin D so that we can absorb calcium out of our GI systems. Okay? Now, a recent study that is making the circuit is that too much calcium can double your risk of heart attacks. And that's true. I looked at the evidence myself, yet I still recommend calcium supplements as long as they're balanced with magnesium. The studies show that when calcium and magnesium are in a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 ratio, that doubling of heart attack risk doesn't occur. And that's because calcium has to be balanced by magnesium. When I was in school, we were taught that you take calcium and then 2 hours later you take magnesium. But now we're finding that if you take them together and they're biologically active and they're close in ratio together, and you have, when I say that, you have to remember, if you drink dairy or eat cheese, you get calcium from that. Some of us have calcium in our water supplies because of old pipes. So you need to make sure that your magnesium levels are up there. And by taking MagnaCal D, you can guarantee that you're going to get the right amount of calcium and the right amount of magnesium in your system. So even though it was put together to help support good bone health, it's very important for the heart. Omega Q. Omega Q is a perfect blend of essential fatty acids and coenzyme Q10. Now, when I say essential, that doesn't mean just that the body needs them. It means the body can't make them. So these have to be eaten. And sometimes we don't eat enough of them, so they have to be supplemented. So that's what essential means. And fatty acids are something that we break down our food to get to, and then we absorb it. They're very easily absorbed. fatty acids come from the cold water fat fish, like salmon, char, mackerel, things like that, okay? CoQ10, or the other name is coenzyme Q10, is a component in the little batteries in every one of our cells. They're called mitochondria. And in the last 3 steps of the breakdown of sugar into energy, CoQ10 is important. It helps make 34 to 36 energy molecules instead of just the 2 that you make without it, okay? When we turn 21, our body begins to make less CoQ10, and it needs to be supplemented, all right? And there are 2 forms. There's ubiquinol, which I have right here on the slide. This is what's called the reduced form. That means it's activated. When you take the other form, which is what almost everybody else produces on the market, if you go to Whole Foods or your regular grocery store and you look at CoQ10, I venture to say that you will not see ubiquinone, or ubiquinol. You'll see ubiquinone or just plain old CoQ10, which is not effective. It has to be altered in the body, and after we turn 21, our ability to alter this compound is reduced. The other thing that you have to understand is that if you're on a statin for high cholesterol, we can't make CoQ10. It's the same enzyme that makes the cholesterol, makes CoQ10. So if you stop cholesterol from being made, you even further reduce your CoQ10. So when I was given the choice of going on a statin, and I said, what else do I need to take? And the doctor said nothing, and I said, well, what about CoQ10? He says, well, you don't need CoQ10. And I said, but the same enzymes are blocked. And he said, I didn't know that. So I decided if he didn't know that, he probably didn't know much about statins. So I refused to be on statins, too. Now, let me tell you a story of 2 tribes in Africa, the Bantu tribes. They were all cousins. They lived 60 miles apart. One of them was strictly vegan. No dairy, no egg, just fruits and vegetables. And then their cousins 60 miles away had a stream that ran through town. And in that stream, they fished for cold water fish. When they looked at the cholesterols and the triglycerides, the ones that were purely vegan had a 40% increase in their cholesterol, total cholesterol, and their triglycerides compared to their cousins, who were genetically the same, who took these essential fatty acids, okay? So Omega Q is an excellent product. It's so good that Consumer Labs, which is the research arm for Consumer Reports, went ahead and looked at independently, a number of fish oils that were out on the market. And they found that they rated it in 4 different tiers. Tier number 1 being the best because it delivered what it was supposed to, and it delivered it in the quantity that was stated on the label. We were in the first tier, which was really nice. So Omega Q is important. You also have to understand that the fish oil that we use has no impurities in it, so there's no mercury, there's no lead, there's no arsenic. It's all been molecularly distilled, so it's the finest blend of essential fatty acids and coenzyme Q10 on the market. So that's the second product. Third product is just BioPro Q. Now, this is CoQ10 with an added benefit. Again, the CoQ10 is in the reduced form, the active form called ubiquinol, and it helps keep the low-density lipoprotein fraction of cholesterol. This is the bad cholesterol from oxidizing and forming plaques. It contains a protein called biopurine, which helps for better absorption, but it also helps us absorb other nutrients from our GI tract much better. Okay? And again, CoQ10 is important for the heart since it's involved in the metabolism of sugar into energy. And without it, the last 3 steps to make the majority of our energy doesn't occur. All right. So we've talked about the first 3. 2 of them obviously were made for heart health support. 1 of them was made for bone support. but because calcium and magnesium are important in the heart, it's a double-edged sword there. So the next three I want to talk about is Finale, Moa, and Rejuvenex. Now, again, these are important nutritionals, and they have many, many reasons for us to support certain functions of our body, but heart is just one of them. So let's look at Finale. Finale is vitamin C and all the assorted ascorbigens. Why is that important? Well, vitamin C itself, ascorbic acid, as most people think of it, you go to Walmart and you stand in the grocery store line to check out, and you see these cute little orange tablets, and they say ascorbic acid, a great source of vitamin C. It's not exactly true, because ascorbic acid doesn't work. Ascorbic acid has to have 9 other cofactors present before it actually does what it's supposed to do. And those are in all of our products, because any of our products that contain vitamin C have all the assorted ascorbigens, because they're all from whole food sourced entities. Okay? And sometimes I feel that I really have a lot of knowledge about vitamin C, because one of the privileges that I had when I was in school is that I worked in Dr. Linus Pauling's laboratory my senior year in college. And he is the recipient of a Nobel Prize on vitamin C. And back in the day when we were there, he required us to take so much vitamin C in our bodies that all the other doctors were saying, that's going to kill you. It's too much vitamin C. And now we find that as an antioxidant, some of the chemotherapies we use for cancer require high-dose vitamin C rescue, just about the same dosages that Dr. Pauling told us to take when I was in school. But Finale isn't just vitamin C. It also contains grapeseed extract, and that's a great thing to support cardiovascular health. Grapeseed extract helps reduce blood pressure. And if you listen to Dr. Oz, he's had a couple of shows on grapeseed extract and how it does keep the tone of our blood vessels at a healthy level so that they can dilate and lower blood pressure. The other thing Finale is good for is that it helps bring calcium into bones and away from soft tissues like our blood vessels and our heart valves. So if you just take calcium and you don't supplement with some of the other things, especially vitamin K2 and D3 and magnesium, such as in Magna-Cal D, calcium gets placed into soft tissues in our body and can cause detrimental effects. So even though calcium is good for the heart, it can be bad for the heart if it's in too high a concentration. So again, look back at Magna-Cal D and see how important it is to support not only good bone health, but good heart health. Okay? And when you begin to calcify valves or calcify blood vessels, blood pressure goes awry. We can have arrhythmias in the heart. So, again, you want to take the right supplements. Newest one, Moa. It's more than a juice. 34 superfoods in a concentrated mixture. So it's not a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a lot of water. But if I just had to pick 2 things out of all the common and uncommon things in Moa, I would pick pomegranate, because it's been shown to dilate blood vessels and increase production of a substance called nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is not the happy gas that the dentist gives you. That's nitric oxide. But nitrous oxide dilates blood vessels. And when you dilate blood vessels, a lot of wonderful things happen in the body. One is your blood pressure goes down. And so that is good for your heart, because if your heart doesn't have to pump against real high pressure, it will pump longer and stronger. But when you dilate blood vessels, nitrous oxide is great. The pharmaceutical company made a lot of money selling a product that keeps nitrous oxide around in our bodies, especially the male bodies, for a long time. And that little blue pill has made a lot of money for this drug company. But pomegranate does the same thing. Okay? Moa also contains bergamot. It's a citrus fruit, and it's been shown in lots of scientific studies to support healthy levels of cholesterol. Okay? So even though Moa is probably a blend of all the things that God intended us to take in our bodies at some point, all in one bottle, I just picked two of them that were very important for heart health in honor of St. Valentine and Valentine's Day. Rejuvenex. Rejuvenex is relaxation in a bottle, and it's alcohol-free. When I look and I see that I have just 3 or 4 Rejuvenex left in the bottle and my auto ship hasn't arrived, I begin to get worried because it contains resveratrol. It's the powerful heart antioxidant that you find in wine. But the amount of resveratrol that's in Rejuvenex is the same as drinking about 22 glasses of wine a day. That alcohol will kill you or give you liver cancer. But the resveratrol is very important, so this way you can get it safely. It also contains hawthorn, and that's been credited for hundreds of years with fixing broken hearts, especially around Valentine's Day, and it's been since the early 1800s. It's also been shown in older studies as fixing irregular heart rhythms and high blood pressure. But now modern studies suggest that hawthorn supports blood flow, improves circulation, and lowers our blood pressures. So hawthorn is very, very good. So Rejuvenex, again, doesn't make you sleepy. It helps you sleep by changing the brainwave pattern. It gives you resveratrol, it gives you hawthorn, it gives you chamomile for its calming effect. Like I said, it's relaxation in a bottle, but it also helps the heart. Now, I'm looking at my notes, and I forgot to tell you something very important about omega-Q. If you really want to understand the difference between ubiquinol, which is our form, and ubiquinone, which is everybody else's form, a study was done on 20 elderly women who were all in heart failure. And this is public knowledge. So if you feel uncomfortable talking about it, and you're talking to a prospect, three-way me in and I can talk about it. But what they did, the research scientists remembered reading that CoQ10 helped people's hearts, so they devised a study and they went ahead and supplemented CoQ10. Unfortunately, they supplemented CoQ10 in the wrong form. And after 6 months, nothing happened. All the women were still in heart failure. They were on a number of medications. And then someone realized that that's not the active form. And when you're on lots of medicines and you're aging, you don't have the ability to convert CoQ10 into the active form. So they redid the study with the same women, and they used ubiquinol, the activated form that we have. And within 6 months, all 20 of them were out of heart failure and off of all their medications. Now, does CoQ10 cure heart failure? No. Does CoQ10 support a healthy heart? You be the judge. Okay? If you need any more information on any of the products, any of the ingredients and what they do, you can go to either of these two websites. The first one is my personal website. The second one is the one that Marcus Cox and I maintain. And I do all the product reviews by Dr. O so that you understand what's in it, why it's important, and why we did it. Stefan, Arlene, that's the 6 products that I feel out of our arsenal that are great for this heart healthy weekend.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for all that you're doing, Dr. O. We love this training. It's always good to hear from you. Always lots of good information, and it also helps us look at who in our network, who in our personal network needs these products. Well, from what I understand, everybody needs them, right? And so basically, you want to share those with those that you like, those that you love, and also is this is a great presentation that you can use with people to have them understand all of these things. So sometimes coming from a doctor, it definitely adds more credibility than you trying to explain these things. And so that's why I've always used third-party endorsement, and Dr. Earl is a great one. So feel free to use this information and help other people around you.